Most people shopping for an SUV today are thinking about the same few names: Toyota 4Runner, Jeep Wrangler, Ford Bronco, Land Cruiser, vehicles that dominate the conversation whenever someone mentions off-road capability. But hidden behind those famous names is something surprising: a group of SUVs that are just as capable, sometimes even better, yet almost no one talks about them anymore. And right now, many of them cost less than $10,000. Today we're talking about one of the biggest hidden gems in the SUV world, the Mitsubishi Montero, and its equally underrated rival, the Land Rover Discovery. Two vehicles with serious off-road DNA. Two vehicles built to go almost anywhere, and two vehicles that most buyers completely overlook. Let's start with the Mitsubishi Montero, because this SUV has one of the most impressive histories in the off-road world.
Get it right.
Let's go.
I'll jump out of your way off and you can,
Even if most people have forgotten about it, the Montero first appeared in the early 1980s. Back then, it wasn't just another family SUV. It was designed to compete in some of the toughest off-road races on Earth, including the legendary Dakar Rally.
I'm ready, I start the lap now.
If you're not familiar with Dakar, it's one of the most brutal endurance races ever created. Thousands of miles, across deserts, rock fields, sand dunes, extreme heat, mechanical punishment that destroys most vehicles. Winning Dakar isn't about luxury, it's about survival. And the Mitsubishi Montero didn't just compete, it dominated. Over the years, the Montero won the Dakar Rally 12 times. More victories than almost any other vehicle. That racing heritage shaped the production version, because Mitsubishi engineers designed the Montero with real off-road performance in mind, not just marketing. One of the most important features was its advanced four-wheel drive system. Mitsubishi called it Super Select. And even today, it's one of the smartest 4WD systems ever put into an SUV. Most older SUVs force you to choose between two modes: two-wheel drive or locked four-wheel drive. But Super Select allowed something unique. You could drive in rear-wheel drive on pavement, or switch into full-time four-wheel drive. Even at highway speeds, that meant better traction in rain, snow, and slippery conditions, without damaging the drivetrain. When things got serious off-road, the system offered low-range gearing and a locking center differential, the kind of hardware usually reserved for much more expensive vehicles. The result was an SUV that could handle highways comfortably, but also crawl through mud, rocks, and deep trails. And the suspension design helped even more. Unlike many older body-on-frame SUVs, later Monteros used independent suspension on all four wheels. That might sound like a compromise, but in reality, it made the vehicle surprisingly capable. Independent suspension improves traction over uneven terrain, and it dramatically improves ride quality on the road. Owners often describe the Montero as one of the most comfortable off-road SUVs ever built. But capability wasn't the only strength. The Montero was also known for reliability, especially the third-generation models built in the early 2000s. Under the hood was a 3.5-liter V6, later upgraded to a 3.8-liter V6. These engines weren't designed for speed, they were designed for durability, simple construction, strong internals, and enough torque to move the SUV through difficult terrain. Maintenance was straightforward, parts were affordable, and many Monteros easily passed 200,000 miles. Yet despite all these strengths, the Montero slowly disappeared from the spotlight. One reason was marketing. Mitsubishi simply didn't promote the vehicle the way Toyota promoted the 4Runner, or the way Jeep promoted the Wrangler. Another reason was changing trends. SUV buyers started prioritizing luxury and technology over rugged capability. Crossovers replaced traditional off-road vehicles, and the Montero quietly faded from the mainstream market. Which brings us to today, where you can find well-maintained Monteros selling for $6,000 to $8,000, sometimes even less. For a vehicle with genuine off-road engineering, that's an incredible value. But the Montero isn't the only hidden gem in this category, Because there's another SUV that deserves attention. The Land Rover Discovery. Now, Land Rover has always had a reputation for building serious off-road machines, but the Discovery occupies an interesting place in the lineup. It was designed to be more practical than the Range Rover, more affordable, but still incredibly capable. The first Discovery arrived in 1989, and right away it became one of the most versatile SUVs on the market. One reason was its suspension system, solid axles, long travel, and excellent articulation. In off-road driving, articulation is critical. It allows the wheels to stay in contact with the ground over uneven terrain. More contact means more traction. More traction means fewer situations where the vehicle gets stuck. Combined with Land Rover's advanced four-wheel drive systems, the Discovery became famous for going places other vehicles couldn't. Steep climbs, deep mud, rock crawling, even water crossings. The Discovery was built for it, and then came one of Land Rover's most innovative technologies, terrain response. This system allowed drivers to select different modes depending on the environment: mud, sand, snow, rocks. The vehicle automatically adjusted throttle response, traction control, and differential behavior. In other words, it made serious off-roading easier for average drivers. You didn't have to be an expert. The vehicle handled much of the complexity. Inside, the Discovery had another advantage: space. It offered seating for up to 7 passengers. With a unique stadium-style layout, the rear seats were slightly elevated, giving passengers a better view. Large windows added to the open feeling. For families, that made the Discovery both adventurous and practical. But just like the Montero, the Discovery developed a reputation problem. Not because of capability, but because of maintenance. Land Rovers became known for expensive repairs. Some of that reputation was deserved, some of it was exaggerated. Earlier models did have electrical quirks, and certain components required careful maintenance. But enthusiasts will tell you something important. When properly maintained, a Discovery can be incredibly durable. The key is understanding the vehicle, regular service, addressing small issues early, and using quality parts. When owners follow those rules, Discoveries often remain reliable for many years. And just like the Montero, depreciation has made them surprisingly affordable. Many older Discovery models now sell for around $8,000, sometimes less, which means buyers can access serious off-road capability at a fraction of the cost of newer SUVs. But there's another reason these vehicles remain such strong values. Modern SUVs have changed dramatically. Many are designed primarily for comfort and efficiency. They use unibody construction, smaller engines, less ground clearance, and fewer mechanical off-road systems. That doesn't mean modern SUVs are bad, but they are built for a different purpose. Vehicles like the Montero and Discovery came from an era when off-road engineering still played a major role in SUV design. Manufacturers expected these vehicles to leave pavement regularly, to carry gear, to tow trailers, to explore remote places. That philosophy shows up in the hardware: strong frames, durable drivetrains, proper low-range gearing. These are the kinds of features that make a real difference once the road disappears. And that's exactly why enthusiasts continue to search for these older SUVs. Because capability doesn't disappear with age. Sometimes it simply becomes more affordable. Of course, buying an older SUV requires careful inspection. Mileage matters. Service history matters. Rust can be a serious concern in certain climates, but when you find a well-maintained example, the value can be remarkable. For the price of a used economy car, you could own a vehicle capable of exploring mountain trails, desert roads, and remote landscapes, and that's something many modern SUVs simply can't offer. The Mitsubishi Montero and the Land Rover Discovery represent a different era of SUV design. An era when capability mattered more than trends, when vehicles were engineered to handle difficult environments, not just look adventurous in advertisements. And today, those machines remain quietly waiting on the used market, often overlooked, often misunderstood, but still incredibly capable. So the next time someone tells you the only serious off-road SUVs are the newest models with the biggest price tags, remember this: some of the most capable SUVs ever built are hiding in plain sight, and sometimes they cost less than $8,000.